The greatest form of control is when you think you're free, but you're being fundamentally manipulated and dictated by forces you don't see. The illusion of freedom keeps people enslaved to a system they believe exists. Freedom House publishes an annual report called Freedom in the World, where it ranks countries as free, partly free, or not free, based on political rights and civil liberties. As of 2023, about 20% of the global population lives in countries rated as free. Around 40% live in partly free countries, meaning they have limited political freedoms and governance choices. Roughly 40% live in not free countries, where the government has significant control over personal freedoms and political participation to serve them, but in reality, it shapes their minds, limits their choices, and defines their existence. There are many ways in which systems manipulate individuals, often in subtle and insidious ways. Here are some examples of how manipulation can occur. Mass media control. Narrative shaping. News outlets and entertainment media often shape narratives that align with the interests of those in power, selectively highlighting or downplaying events. By controlling what people see and hear, they can influence opinions, beliefs, and perceptions of reality. Fear tactics. Media often amplifies fear, focusing on crime, terrorism, or economic crises to keep people in a state of anxiety, making them more likely to accept authoritarian policies or surveillance in exchange for a sense of safety. Ownership concentration. A few large conglomerates, such as News Corp, Disney, and Comcast, own numerous media outlets across the world. This concentration of ownership allows these corporations to control a significant portion of the information that the public consumes. When a small number of companies own the majority of media outlets, they can control narratives and influence public opinion on a global scale. Consumerism and advertising. Artificial desires. Advertising creates the illusion that happiness and fulfillment come from acquiring material goods. By constantly bombarding us with images of success, beauty, and luxury, people are manipulated into spending money on things they don't need, keeping them in a cycle of work and consumption. Misinformation through consumerism and advertising often involves false claims, exaggerated benefits, and manipulative strategies designed to persuade consumers. This can include false advertising, where products promise results not supported by science, and greenwashing, where companies falsely present their products as environmentally friendly. Emotional manipulation is common, with ads linking products to happiness, status, or success, creating a false sense of need. Hidden costs, such as undisclosed subscription fees, also mislead consumers. Additionally, influencer marketing can blur the line between genuine endorsements and paid promotions, while stereotypical depictions of gender roles, body image, and lifestyles promote unrealistic expectations. Addressing these issues requires consumer awareness, stronger regulations, and more ethical marketing practices. Psychological triggers. Marketers use psychology to tap into subconscious desires and emotions, exploiting insecurities to sell products. This manipulation often takes advantage of vulnerability, making people believe they need certain products for status, beauty, or happiness. Marketers usually use psychological triggers to tap into consumers' subconscious desires and emotions, influencing their decision-making and behavior. Scarcity and FOMO create urgency by making products appear limited, while social proof leverages the behavior of others, like reviews and testimonials, to build trust. Reciprocity encourages customers to return favors after receiving something for free, and authority uses expert endorsements to boost credibility. Commitment and consistency drive consumers to align their actions with previous choices, and the principle of liking fosters personal connections with relatable brands. Emotional appeals evoke feelings like happiness or fear to motivate action, while anchoring and framing manipulate how information is presented to influence perception. Lastly, novelty attracts attention by offering something new and exciting, making consumers more inclined to explore or buy. These triggers collectively shape marketing strategies to drive engagement and sales. Education system. Standardized thinking. Many education systems prioritize conformity, teaching students to follow rules, memorize information, and think within a fixed framework. Critical thinking and questioning the status quo are often discouraged, producing citizens who accept the existing power structures without resistance. The downside of an education system that fosters standardized thinking can manifest in several significant ways. It stifles creativity and innovation by promoting rigid structures and focusing on finding one right answer. limiting students' ability to think critically and solve problems in diverse ways. This one-size-fits-all approach fails to account for individual strengths, disadvantaging non-traditional learners and ignoring different learning styles. Historical distortion. Curriculums can be designed to highlight certain parts of history while omitting others, shaping collective memory and identity. This selective storytelling ensures that people have a limited understanding of the actual dynamics of power and oppression. Surveillance and data collection. Surveillance and data collection have become pervasive across the globe, driven by advancements in technology and increasing connectivity. Governments conduct mass surveillance through agencies like the NSA and China's extensive monitoring networks, employing facial recognition, GPS tracking, and internet monitoring tools. At the same time, smart cities use CCTV and AI-powered systems for public safety and traffic control. Corporations, especially tech giants like Google, Facebook, and Amazon, gather vast amounts of user data, including search history, location, and preferences for targeted advertising. Personal devices like smartphones, wearables, and smart home devices collect data on users' habits, health, and communication. The Internet of Things, IoT, connects everyday objects to the Internet, gathering user data to enhance services. Healthcare apps and institutions collect detailed health metrics, while financial institutions and cryptocurrency networks track transaction histories. Biometrics such as facial and voice recognition, along with DNA data, are increasingly used by governments and tech companies for identification and security. The advertising industry extensively tracks user behavior online for precise targeting, while retail and e-commerce platforms collect customer data in stores and online. Globally, countries like China and the US lead in mass surveillance efforts, and each day, roughly 2.5 quintillion bytes of data are generated, raising significant concerns about privacy, security, and the misuse of surveillance technologies. Political manipulation. False dichotomies. The political system often presents issues as binary, left versus right, liberal versus conservative, creating a divide and conquer strategy that keeps the population distracted and divided. This manipulation keeps people fighting amongst themselves while those in power maintain control. Propaganda and misinformation. Political leaders and parties use propaganda and misinformation to sway public opinion, manipulating facts to serve their agendas. This creates confusion and division, making it harder for people to discern truth from fiction. Big tech algorithms. Content curation. Social media platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram use algorithms to show users content that aligns with their existing beliefs and preferences. This creates echo chambers that reinforce biases and prevent exposure to diverse perspectives, subtly shaping public opinion. Dopamine manipulation. Many digital platforms are designed to keep users hooked by triggering dopamine responses, likes, comments, shares. This manipulation encourages addictive behavior, limiting critical thinking and deep engagement with real-world issues. Workforce and economic manipulation. Debt slavery. Many people are encouraged to take on debt, student loans, mortgages, credit cards, under the promise of a better future, but they end up trapped in a cycle of work to repay it. This manipulation keeps the workforce compliant and dependent on the system. Gig economy exploitation. The rise of the gig economy promotes flexibility and freedom, but it often exploits workers with little to no benefits or job security. This creates a disposable workforce that is easily manipulated by market demands. Shasha 2024.